Today we talk about a new DJI Flight update, version 1.11.4, and this also brings a new firmware update. It's going to bring a massive update to the DJI Mavic 3 Pro and Mavic 3 series, the Mavic 3, the Mavic 3 Classic, the Mavic 3 Pro. This is going to bring some really unusual but interesting features. Let's get straight into it. What I do like about this is they're not just isolating all of these new features to the Pro version. These features are going to be available, like I've just mentioned, on all the different Mavic 3s. The Pro version does get a couple of extra features as well. We're going to talk about that now. So this now supports extra color profiles for the 7x camera. When we first got this drone, it was fantastic, but the color profiles were a bit confusing and a bit all over the place. They weren't consistent. Now it's much better. So on the 7x camera now, you can now use D-Log-M and HLG. So you could use now D-Log-M on the 7x camera, D-Log-M on the 3x and the 1x camera. So it's a bit more consistent now, much better, especially for color grading. You can also now use HLG on that 7x camera as well. Again, consistency much better. Now, by far my favorite zoom on here is that 3x camera. I absolutely love it for compressing that background and the quality is so good. This now supports night video mode using the 3x zoom, which is fantastic. So you can switch that up on the screen between 1x and 3x. It also now supports master shots with that 3x telelength, and you can also go into quick shots and use the 3x zoom as well. So 3x support on here, much better, and the 7x camera now supports more color profiles. But that is it in relation to just the Mavic 3 Pro. All of these more exciting features are available on all the Mavics. Then the first feature is Vision Assist. And you might be thinking, what is that? Well, I was as well. But this gives you like some crazy James Bond-like feature on your Mavic 3 drones now. So you've got the obstacle avoidance cameras on your drone here, at the front, at the back, and you can look sideways as well. Now you can access these cameras and you can see through these cameras. So why would that be important? Why would you need to do that? Well, let's just imagine that you're flying in a pretty tight space or around loads of trees or obstacles. You can now access these cameras and see close up what the drone is seeing, not just from this camera, because that then gives you a bit more detail, a bit more fine tuning about where you're flying. So to access this, it's really simple. You just go onto the actual screen, and where you have your map in the bottom left hand corner, you can just swipe left or right, and you now get this view, this black and white view through these cameras. And it gets even better. So you can click on one of the yellow arrows and you can look forwards, backwards, left or right, and you can see exactly what the drone is seeing. You can see the propellers. It looks really cool. And then you can also then click on the box as well if you want a bit of a bigger screen, and then you can see exactly full screen, basically with a bit more detail about where you're flying. So where I'm flying here, it's like a big open space as I'm demonstrating it, but let's just imagine you're in a really crowded area with loads of buildings and you was doing some flight through there, and you wanted everything to be a little bit more precise and more accurate in where you're flying. You could have this little screen at the bottom left of your screen here whilst you're flying your drone. It is really good. And it's really good as well because if you just keep this on the bottom left hand corner of your screen, you can just have this on all the time. Now you don't have to click on these arrows. If you just get your controller and actually fly left, right, forwards or back, it will automatically switch to that camera and show you exactly what the actual obstacle avoidance cameras are seeing. A great feature that DJI Avata had, it had an on-screen home point, so you could see all the time where your home point was. You had this little H icon on screen. I thought it was fantastic. We've now got this on the Mavic series, so you can see on screen now this little H that will show you exactly where your home point is, and as you're flying the drone around, that will also change, so it's a little bit more obvious where your home point is in case you forget. But I do like that feature. That is really good. If you are enjoying this, you don't want to miss out on more drone and tech content, just please hit that subscribe button. It means so much to me. And if you are enjoying this particular video, just hit that like button. We'll get this to more people. And it's also got a feature now called frame guides. So this allows you to get better framing when you're filming your video, especially for vertical content. Now don't get too excited. This doesn't make the camera rotate. You're not going to be able to film vertical content natively from your Mavic series. We don't have that. But what we do have, it allows you to frame it better. So to activate this, you just go into the settings under camera. About halfway down, you'll see something called frame guide. Now, if you click on that, it gives you loads of different options that you can click on. So if you want to, for instance, do a vertical video, so we can't film in vertical on the Mavic 3 series, but what this does is it puts basically a shadow around the main focus point, so the vertical content, and then it allows you to frame that perfectly. And you can also then change that. You might want to get a square video for Instagram, something like that. So it just allows you to get better framing on your video. It's also got some more AR features as well. One of them is AR return to home. So to check this is activated, if you go to your return to home under safety, and then you will see there AR settings. If you click on that, just make sure they're all activated. So the first one is a return to home route. So you could return to home for a number of reasons. You might have a signal disconnect, you might just want the drone to come back automatically. Whatever reason it is, if you just click return to home, now with the AR selected, you actually have this on-screen kind of route mapped to you. It's going to show you exactly the map, what the drone is going to come back. So let's just click return to home now on this screen and I'll show you. So the drone now, it actually has started its return to home, and it's going to actually increase to 115 meters, what I've set it at. But you can see now when I go back onto the screen, you get this like really faint green marker line, and that's its actual flight path coming back to me. It's really clever, and I've tested this a few times of this drone coming back to me in different locations, different starting points, and it works really good. And it's dead handy to actually see the location of where that drone is and the flight path it's going to take on the way back. You can then think, do I want it to continue that route? Do I want to cancel it, fly it back manually? You know, you have that option now, and it also looks really cool as well. We also have something called AR shadow. So when activated, when the drone is coming down to land and you've got the camera pointing down, it will show you on screen now a shadow of the drone landing. This is really good then for accurate landings if you need it to land in a certain place, or like really accurate. Let's just say, for instance, you're landing this on a boat and you've not got a lot of space, you want it to be perfect in place. You can see exactly where that's going to land because you now have a shadow display on your controller. I mean, this is so cool, isn't it? And one more as well. So we also have now the ability, talking of a boat, to turn off the downward sensor protection. So I would only do this when really needed. It's going to be only a couple of reasons why you should do this. But if you go into your safety settings and go right to the very bottom of that safety setting, you'll see advanced safety settings. And then from here, you can turn the downward positioning sensor off. Now this does have a downside. By turning that down position sensor off, the actual hovering ability of this, it won't be very stable at all because that downward position sensor is not activated. So this feature is going to be fantastic. For instance, like that boat example, let's just say the boat is moving and you want this drone to basically just land and come straight down. That is what's going to happen. You don't have like we have at the moment where the drone will come down, it will just basically think about it, and then for about 5 seconds it will stay in place and then it will come down and land slowly. No, this just comes down at one pace straight down. So the hovering ability is a lot weaker, but it lands faster. So if you need it to, just turn that off and then turn it back on again before your next flight. So those are the new features. So they're pretty cool, aren't they? Especially the vision assist. I can see that being really useful in a lot of locations, especially where I fly as well. Being able to use that to have pinpoint accuracy where I'm flying, I think it's fantastic. And it's just so cool. I mean, we have that, we have AR return to home now, we have these frame guides, we've got this shadow, we can turn the downward position sensors off. This is really good. And it's great that it's not just a pro version, it's the whole Mavic versions are supporting this. This is fantastic. But can we support like the Air series as well? Can we do that, please? See you in the next one. Bye bye.